I'm Kjetil Jikiun from Nøgne Ø in Norway. I think we're the first craft brewery to get started in Norway.
Amazing. So, Kjetil, I read a little bit about your bio, and I know that you used to be a pilot for Scandinavian Airlines, and you went to the US a lot and were sort of inspired by the beer scene happening over there.
That's true.
Is it a safe assumption to say that US craft brewing is your biggest influence when it comes to the brew house? Or, I mean, you're in Europe.
It used to be. Now I think it's a little bit more diverse than that. But yes, when we got started, I got the same question many, many times, like, why on earth did you choose to go so American in style? And for me, it wasn't really a choice. It was the US was my point of reference. I got my homebrew supplies there. I was influenced or inspired by American craft beers, and I brought my beers back to the US and had brewers in brew pubs and microbreweries taste them and give me feedback on it. So really, it was the only reference I had. That was the US.
And what about now? What are you looking at these days? Where do you get your inspiration from?
I hope I'm not exaggerating when I say we try to get inspiration from all over the world. Not only the US, but wherever we travel, wherever I get to see what people do, because after all, there are creative brewers all over, and I try to get inspiration from wherever I am.
Okay. And you know, Norway right now has a real thirst on for craft beer, much like sort of what's happening here in Canada. If you had to classify sort of the most popular craft beer style for Norwegians right now, what would you say they like the best?
IPAs.
IPAs?
Yeah. And it's kind of cool because a few years back everybody told us that you need to stop making these assertive pale ales and IPAs. Nobody actually really wants it. It's just coincidental that now they're selling well. They will not sell well over time. You should develop some session ales. And we did. We have developed quite a number of session ales, but our best seller is our IPA.
Nice. Does that make you feel good?
Yeah, absolutely, because it's my favorite beer as well. I love hoppy stuff.
Okay. Yeah. Any particular IPAs that you go to? Any besides your own brand? Do you want to say your favorites, or is that tough to do?
No, it's tough, or it's impossible, because I like diversity. I think the beauty of craft beer is that there are many brewers, and they all interpret every beer style in different ways. And the fact that you can move on from one to the next and get new experiences, that's what I like about it.
I heard you say that diversity was one of the big markers of sort of your philosophy in terms of brewing, and another one was integrity of beer styles. So, I mean, those two, there's a lot of diverse beer styles out there, obviously, but also a lot of craft brewers are known for experimentation, you know, new hybrids, new recipes, throwing new ingredients in there. So how do you draw the line between sort of respecting the integrity of a beer style and being able to experiment in the brew house?
Sometimes you just have to admit that it's impossible to be true to the beer style in the direction you're going. But then, of course, you should not use that beer style in the name of the beer. There are many beers we brew which are totally out of style. And I think that's okay, as well as when you brew a style, then you should at least make it clear to the palates, clear to the customer, clear to the consumer, the drinker, that what kind of beer style it is.
And I mean, you're communicating with, you know, thousands of different beer drinkers in different beer cultures all over the world. Your brewery's exported to, you know, as far as Japan, Australia, the US, here in Canada, England. So it keeps you on your toes. If you had advice for a Canadian brewery looking to sell abroad as much as you do now, what would your advice be? Go for it, or is it too much of a hassle? And
it's not much of a hassle at all. I would say develop something which is uniquely your own style, or try to find something which is unique for the region where you're located. maybe we're not famous for doing exactly that, but we actually do it. There are several beers which we have developed in Norway with local ingredients, and not all of them make it to the export markets. But I think it's one way to be respected abroad. That is, show that you're different, show that you have something which is purely your own, or which shows the region where you come from.
Okay. And if you had to say, you talk about the region of Norway and beer, what would you say is a marker? Is there a terroir of Norway and beer?
Not yet, but there are several craft brewers working to find it, to develop it. There are more and more local local fruits and berries being used in fruit beers. There's more and more focus on local grains. Unfortunately, we don't have a maltster in Norway. There are no malting companies in Norway. So when we got through, I think it took us 4 years to get the local barley, which we could use for malting, and we had to send it to England and back to have it malted. So there are a number of us working on it. But it takes time. I mean, when the whole beer culture is ruined by the large lager producing brewers, then it takes a while to turn and to find and create a beer culture and a terroir.
What about here in Canada? Have you had much of a chance to sample our craft beer?
I've only been here for 24 hours, so I haven't had much time, but what I've tasted has been very impressive.
All right. Well, thanks so much. It was really great to talk to you.
Thank